Most people speak without knowing they did. They talk even in silence. They confess without meaning to. They reveal in every movement they don't control, not through what they say, but through what leaks between the words. Their eyes dart. You see fear. Their tone shifts. You hear pride. Their hands tremble. You hear stories they haven't told yet. They think they're in control, but their body always forgets to lie. And that's where you read them. Not with questions, not with assumptions, but with stillness. No reaction, no judgment, no interruption, just space, wide enough for their truth to echo back to them. Because people don't reveal themselves when they feel watched. They reveal when they feel safe enough to stop performing. And in that moment, you see them. Not the version they post, not the one they wear, the one underneath. Reading people isn't about power, it's about presence. And presence doesn't push, it just notices everything. The invitation to speak, people reveal themselves when you don't interrupt them. Most don't listen, they wait for a gap to insert their story, their opinion, their experience. But the one who holds still, the one who doesn't jump in, becomes something rare. A mirror. And people pour into mirrors. They speak more than they planned. They offer details they didn't need to share. They confess without realizing they're confessing. Not because you're special, because you're quiet. Stillness is a space most never get. And when they do, they rush to fill it. Let them. Because in that flood of words you'll hear the fracture, the repetition, the moment their voice drops and truth slips out between polished lines. They'll talk about someone else, but reveal themselves. They'll laugh too hard, then pause too long. They'll say, "I'm over it," but you'll feel the opposite hiding in their throat. All you did was listen, but they heard safety. And in that safety, they stop performing. That's when the mask tilts. That's when the pattern shows. That's when you stop hearing words and start hearing who they are. Don't chase it. Don't pull. Don't analyze. Just sit. Hold the gaze. Let the silence grow heavier than their need to control it. Because if you're still enough, they'll write their entire story right in front of you. How they treat the powerless. If you want to know who someone is, watch how they treat those who can't fight back. Not you, not their boss, not someone who matters. Watch them with the waitress, the cleaner, the delivery guy, the person in the shadow. Do their eyes shift? Does their tone drop? Do they ignore until the moment they need something? That's not mood, that's character. Because when no spotlight's on, the act stops. The true self steps forward, unfiltered, unaware, raw, and it tells you everything. The one who is kind only when seen isn't kind. He performs it. The one who flatters the top and steps on the bottom isn't ambitious. He's dangerous. Because how someone treats the powerless is how they'll treat you. The moment you're no longer useful. You don't need to test them. You don't need to guess. Just observe. The moment they think no one is looking, look closer. How do they speak to someone who can't say no? How do they react when silence walks in wearing an apron? If their respect requires rank, it's not respect, it's strategy. And if someone can't be decent without needing to be seen, they're not worth listening to when the lights come on. Because true power isn't how they treat you when you rise, it's how they treat others when they think you're not watching. The echo of their past. People don't just react to you. They react to who hurt them before you. That anger? It's not about now. That silence? It's not because of you. That shift in tone? It started years before you met them. You're watching the present, but hearing the past speak through it. Because no one walks into a room clean. We carry echoes of betrayal, of shame, of not being picked, of being told we weren't enough. And those echoes shape reflex. So when they flinch at a word, or laugh too hard at a joke, or go cold when you show warmth, it's not about this moment, it's about the one they never healed from. And if you're still enough, you'll hear it. The pattern, the defense, the way they brace for a war that no longer exists. You don't need to fix it. You don't need to pry. You just need to recognize that most people aren't speaking to you. They're speaking to someone from their past through your face. And if you're not aware, you'll take it personal. You'll fight back. You'll escalate what was never yours to carry. But if you're still, if you just observe, you'll see the shadow standing behind them. And in that moment, you'll know more about who they are than they've ever said out loud. Because a person's history isn't behind them. It walks beside them. Every day, whispering, reacting, repeating. And if you want to read someone clearly, don't just watch their moves, watch their ghosts. The flicker in their tone words can be shaped, but tone escapes before it's ready. Most people train what they say, but forget to train how they say it. And that's where the truth leaks. They'll say, "I'm fine," but their voice cracks. They'll say, "I support you," but there's a blade in the rhythm. They'll say all the right things, but something in the sound doesn't land. It's too fast, too bright, too controlled, like a mask that slipped for half a second, then snapped back in place. That flicker? That's what you read. You don't listen for logic. You listen for weight, for timbre, for what wasn't meant to be heard. And sometimes that's louder than any argument, because tone reveals alignment. When what they say doesn't match what they feel, there's a gap. And inside that gap lives everything they tried to hide. So listen with your nerves, not your ears. When they praise someone, does the joy feel real? When they apologize, does the humility show up? Does their voice settle, or does it fight itself? You'll hear it, if you're quiet enough. Because real recognition doesn't come from catching lies, it comes from sensing what truth. They couldn't fully hide. You don't need to correct them. You don't need to react. Just note the flicker, because that flicker, it's the only part they didn't rehearse. Who they are when alone, the version you see, is often the version they curate. Posture in the meeting, charm in the group, manners under pressure. But none of that is who they are. It's who they perform. The real version? You'll find it when they think no one's watching. How they treat silence, how they walk when they don't have to lead, how they act when there's no reward in acting right. That's the man. That's the truth. Does he sigh louder when the room goes quiet? Does he scroll with bitterness or curiosity? Does his face go blank, or does it soften? The way people move in stillness tells you who they are, when attention no longer holds them up. And most won't know that they've shifted, that the smile dropped, that their shoulders sank, that the armor finally slipped, and you'll see it. The tired, the guarded, the cold, the gentle. Whatever's real, it shows up when there's nothing left to gain by pretending. You can't ask them for this version. You have to wait for it. Let them tire of the mask. Let the space grow quiet enough that they forget to act. Because the greatest honesty is unintentional. And if you read long enough, if you sit past the performance, you'll meet a person they didn't mean to show you. And that version is the only one that ever tells you the truth. What shakes their emotion. People reveal their true control in the moments they lose it. Not when things are smooth, not when everyone's watching, but when they're triggered. When the comment lands too close, when someone talks over them, when the plans shift without warning. Watch what cracks, what flares, what spills. Do they get defensive fast? Do they go quiet, sharp? Do they fire back, harder than needed? That's not just how they are. That's where they're stuck. Because emotion doesn't break the mask, it reveals what the mask was built to hide. You'll see the patterns, the need to be right, the fear of being overlooked, the pain of being doubted. All of it hits the surface when their armor slips for 1 second. You don't need to exploit it. You don't need to poke it, just see it. Because what shakes them shows you what owns them. And if they haven't faced it, they'll keep handing it to others in the form of control, deflection, blame. You'll see it in the micro-expressions, the breath that tightens, the hands that fidget, the voice that hardens over something small. That's the wound. That's the glitch in their system. That's the place where logic ends and the old script takes over. You don't need to call it out, you don't need to fix it. Just remember, everyone looks composed until they're pressed in the right spot. And if you know where that spot is, you know who they are when they can't pretend to be anyone else. Seeing isn't power, silent seeing is. Anyone can point, judge, react, expose. But true clarity stays quiet. Because once you speak it, you give it away. You shift the power, you show your hand. So don't tell them what you see, don't warn them, don't correct them. Just note it, store it, let it reshape how you move, not how you speak. Because when you see people fully and still stay still, that's not passive, that's discipline. It's not about knowing more, it's about needing less. No explanation, no defense, no attempt to be understood. Just a presence that listens, like it's been here before, because it has. And the ones who sense it will move carefully, not because you asked, but because something in your silence told them, I see you. I just don't need to prove it. That's what makes people hesitate. Not your strength, but the fact that you don't need to show it to know it's there.